What up, beautiful people? It is I, Wigwam, here to bring you another game review. Today we are taking a look at In the Shadows. What is In the Shadows? Well, imaginary viewer who I talk to in my head, In the Shadows is a puzzle platformer adventure game dressed up in the nice suit of an art house project that really makes us question what is growing up and growing old. It just released on Steam for $15.99 and was developed by Color Space Studios, who used Kickstarter to fund the project. The project reached about 599 backers, just one short of 600, myself being one of them. We beat the $12,000 Canadian money goal, and what do Canadians use for money? Snowballs? That doesn't make sense, because then everybody would be rich. I'll look it up later. Anyways, we got the goal, and we got the game. Why did I back the game? Well, pretty much for one reason. I'm vain, and the game looks amazing. The game uses light not just as an overarching theme of the game, but actually as a puzzle-solving mechanic. You push light blocks around, flip switches to make the lights go on and off, and it all looks gorgeous. It's pretty obvious that even prior to release, the developer of the game spent a lot of time working on the aesthetics that define this game, making sure the shadows that you cast look just right on the walls, that the worlds are lit in a way that makes them seem warm at times and mysterious and scary at others. This is all done really well. Fortunately, that's pretty much where my list of positives has to come to an end. I just want to say, I really wanted to like In the Shadows. And not just because the last time I posted a negative review, I got harassed for months endlessly by the developer to change my review score from negative to positive. No, I wanted it to succeed because I love artistic games with cool concepts, and I want them to succeed to prove to developers that you can do this kind of cool creative stuff and it still has a market today. So, what's wrong with In the Shadows? I mean, clearly the visuals are a 10 out of 10, right? Well, they might have been, actually, if it weren't for some very common visual glitches I ran into. Constantly, I ran into pieces of the world that were in the wrong layer. I also ran into some weird visual glitches like climbing off this platform or falling into this hole or trying to climb this ladder. Once you start to notice some of the more obvious ones, it just feels like you can't get away from them. This isn't why I didn't like this game though. These glitches just started to show me that maybe In the Shadows wasn't quite ready for a release yet. Maybe this project needed a little more time to have the kinks worked out and to mature and grow. This leads me into the real issue with the game though, which is the gameplay itself. I have said over and over again in my reviews that a game should be judged on how well it plays and how fun it is to play, and In the Shadows can really just be described as, well, boring. Like, really boring. I love a good puzzle game, whether it's a game like Zelda where you have this huge world to explore using your puzzle-solving skills, or something more simple like a block-moving puzzle game. I could play puzzle games for hours on end, but the puzzles need to challenge you to think. And in this game, the more challenging thing isn't coming up with the solution, but rather having the patience to execute it. So the goal here is that in each and every level, we collect these stars. Why? I don't know. You go into a level and try to collect all the stars. Or don't, because all you really have to do is just find the exit and walk out. But if you collect all the stars in each level, I assume something happens, maybe? Again, I have no idea because nothing about this is explained. I have no motivation to collect all these stars because I have no idea if there is a reward for it. I know the star on the door lights up when you 100% the level, but does something happen when you 100% the whole world, the whole game? Where is the reward here? So why not just get all the stars for the sake of 100%ing the game to see what happens? Well, apart from the fact that I am not motivated by collecting for collection's sake, it goes back to what I said earlier about it being trying on your patience. You see, In the Shadows can often have puzzle solutions that involve some platforming and timing. Sounds great, right? Well, it sure would be if it was a matter of solid execution and tight timing. Instead, it's more of a matter of solid execution and waiting. Wait for this shadow guy to jump off the ledge and walk across the screen to this other spot so you can hit the switch and turn him into a ladder. Or maybe you messed it up and now the shadow monster has to walk slowly all the way back across the level, hit a wall, turn around, walk all the way back to the other side, fall into a pit, respawn, but only if there are no lights on by the spawn, and then you can attempt it again. You can try killing yourself to reset the puzzle, except it doesn't do anything. So you're just stuck, waiting, all the time, on these little shadow monsters to position themselves just right. Sometimes you have to guess because you're trying to line them up with something off screen. And if you screw it up, again, you might be stuck waiting for everything to mosey on back to square one so you can start over. There are really no challenging platforming bits, which I guess is fine because the platforming is a bit clunky anyways. It's passable, but maybe only because it's never really put to the test. The puzzles themselves never really put you to the test either. None of them really felt challenging to me. And I'm not that smart, so like, I would have known if they were challenging. I want to run into puzzles that stump me in a game like this, not puzzles that make me say, is it worth it to get this last star? Before immediately deciding no and watching my character run away, flailing his arms like some kind of gorilla. Look at this run animation. The fuck? Runs like Ed, Edd n Eddy. In addition to these puzzles we have, well, nothing. There is not combat or action or anything else to do in this game. It's just a series of doors that you walk through, which lead to a few puzzles and an exit. There are no boss monsters of any sort, no climax at the end of the world or any levels. You just grind your way through the puzzles until it's over. So in conclusion, I really just can't recommend In the Shadows. Maybe if it was closer to a $5 price tag than a $16 price tag, I could make more of a mixed opinion on it, because the visuals are good, and if you don't mind the very slow-paced gameplay, there's passable puzzles here, but for $16, I just can't imagine getting that amount of content out of this game. But hey, that's just my opinion. Do you agree, disagree? Feel free to let me know down below in the comments, as well as if you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave it a like, and if you are new here, consider subscribing for more reviews and top 5s and other YouTube content. You know, probably. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some Canadian cultural things to look up, like their money, and why do they wear those weird shoes and hats, and is it legal to marry an elk, and where do I get free healthcare? Dear Canada, please send me your free drugs. I live in America, and it is very bad here. We're all going to die from the common cold, and it is going to probably suck. But hey, at least it's not cold, and we have better sports than hockey. You freaking hosers.